Hello, everyone. It's Shannon and Maria. And in today's episode, we are talking about why I believe all coaches and consultants should be using email marketing as the primary form of communication and marketing for sustainable business growth. I've brought in the reinforcement by inviting my wife, Maria, in to help me with the tech conversation. And we will be talking email tech for coaches and consultants throughout this particular playlist. Now, if you are new to my community, if you are new to my YouTube channel, hey there, I am Shannon Hernandez. You can call me Shannon. I am the founder of Joyful Business Revolution, and we help established coaches, consultants, and service-based business owners grow the business of their dreams in the most sustainable of ways. Our focus here is organic, mission-driven marketing and creative email marketing that helps you grow your aligned audience, deepen community relationships, and double your revenue. Maria, please introduce yourself to the good people.
Hi, I am Maria. I have the pleasure of being married to Shannon Hernandez. And I am a long time lover, student, and practitioner of technology. Um, Worked at big companies, small companies, and have a lot of experience with email tech. So I'm looking forward to diving into today's topics with you.
Beautiful. So we're going to focus this particular episode on intro to email technology, what it is, email marketing, why email, why to use it as the core of your business strategy. And we're also going to hit on some smaller topics that we will dive in deeper throughout the series about email service providers, the platforms, automations, etc. So Maria, kick us off. What is email marketing?
Well, I'm going to go back to email, right?
Oh,
What is email? Okay, because it's important to understand the basics. We're not going to talk about protocols and SMTPs and this kind of thing. But at the core, you need to know that email is an internet communication medium, basically. And the way that it works is we have email clients, and an email client is what you would use to read and write your email. And we have email servers, and the email servers actually are responsible for sending the emails from one person to another, making sure that those emails get there, and also holding on to those emails so that you can go and look at them later. A lot of times, email stays on a server these days. It's not just staying like in your phone, it's probably staying in a Google server or something as well. And so these parts all work together to make sure that you can send an email to a friend, but also that you can work with hopefully an email service provider to send millions of emails to your adoring public, right? It's all using the same technology underneath. We have clients, we have servers. Everyone has an email address, which I'm sure you know yours. You might have more than one. And we have lists of email addresses, and these are the basic building blocks that we build email marketing on top of.
awesome. All right. So when it comes to email marketing for business growth, all right, so let's start there. People have some choices. They can kind of DIY it. They can use an email service provider. Let's kind of dive into that for a minute and get people acquainted with the choices they have.
Sure, sure. So when we think about marketing, we think about people seeing uh, an ad, basically, or a commercial of some kind, right? There's a business with a message, and they want to reach their potential customers and existing customers with their message. And the email is one way to do it. If you can contact a person, you could use that contact for marketing, right? And so with email as a way to contact folks, if you take the first step and you think, well, I can contact people with email, so I should, right? And you've opened up your email client, maybe it's on your phone, maybe it's on your tablet or your computer. you go to gmail.com or whatever it is, and you think, okay, so who am I going to email? I have a list of 50 people. So I'm just going to copy paste their email addresses into the to field, and I'm just going to send them all an email and say, hi, I'm starting a new business. I'm here. Actually, did you know about my existing business and we have a new service? And they're all going to be so happy to get that email. Right now, I know a lot of you are cringing already. I mean, I know that I'm cringing just saying all of this, because that right away we know something isn't quite right about that, right? That almost feels like just sending 50 people a chain letter, right? Most people aren't excited to be part of a really big like email blast where their email address is going to be attached. And if you, like me, are definitely not an old lady and used to have AOL email, you may have received some of these old chain letters that used to go around, and you see that the list of email addresses is longer than the content in the email. And part of that is just a way of collecting people's email addresses. That's what started. That was some of the early sort of sneaky ways to capture people's email addresses without their knowledge, in order to reach out to them and send them more email marketing, right? We're going to talk more about why that's called spam and how spam is dealt with later. But this DIY sort of, I'm just going to email people. Don't worry, I'll put you in the BCC blind carbon copy field so nobody will see your address. No, that's still DIYing, and it's still going to fall short of what you can get from a professional email service provider, okay? On the other hand, right, so let's switch over to the email service provider. Email service providers are simply businesses that are set up to handle email at scale. And what does that mean? Instead of sending 10 or 20 emails or even 50 emails, these businesses are configured technology-wise and structurally to handle millions and millions of emails between millions and millions of people and others, right? It's not just your email client, Microsoft Outlook, opening it up and sending to a million people. No, they have a bank of email servers, and they have people monitoring the health of those servers and the reputations of those servers. And there's ways to track analytics about email. And we can talk more about email analytics and how those work probably in a future episode, because there's a lot of interesting things that can happen there to detect whether or not an email was opened, or whether or not it was read, or whether or not links were clicked in an email, and which can help you understand whether or not your email marketing campaigns are effective as part of your overall marketing strategy, right? The ESPs have all of that baked in. The main difference is that some of them have different interfaces, and there's different pricing, and there's different structures and that kind of a thing. But every ESP is going to offer you some kind of way to access the data and analytics that are part of the email marketing, right? So DIY, you don't get that. You just get, maybe if people reply to you, or if the email bounces back, it's not a real email address, they were lying to you, or maybe it was a typo, who knows, right? But that's all you'll get. You won't know too much about what happens with that email after the fact. And when you use the email service provider, all of that stuff is available to you, sometimes down to you can download the actual data. Oftentimes it's easier to just work with it on the platform that an email service provider gives you. They have a nice interface, and it shows you all the graphs and things that you need. There's segmentation, which we're going to talk about in depth later on, which is to say, if you want to send slightly different or vastly different email to different types of people that are all on your list, where the one thing they have in common is that they are one of your potential customers or existing customers, but they're different. All of the people you work with are different from each other, and they may have categories that bring them closer together that you might want to email them. For example, if you have local people identified on your list and you're having a local event that you want people to just be able to walk to, then maybe you would only send that email to that segment, for example, right? Email service providers will help you keep a management of your segmentation. When you have a growing list, it's going to be important to have that kind of of help, and email service providers do that. So basically you have DIY, which is I'm going to just type an email and send it to everybody I know, which we don't do that, right? And then we have professional quality email for marketing. And that's where having a reputable ESP is going to help out.
I love it. Thank you. So if you're wondering if email marketing should be part of your core business growth strategy, or you've started the email marketing and then you fell off and you want to make it the primary part, communication of your core business strategy, I want to talk about that for just a couple minutes. Okay. So I did an in-depth review over the last November and December and January. I did this review and I went back and I looked at all the data from 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023. And what I mean by that is I first had my accountant pull the monthly revenue for each month of my business in those 4 years. So I had 48 months of revenue data. And I literally printed it and I lined it up next to what was the content I was sending or sharing during those months. And what I was trying to find is the trends between the highest revenue months and the content that was speaking to my audience at Joyful Business Revolution, right? So in this process, what I found was email marketing equated to over 90% of our revenue, whereas social media marketing had a role, but it did not contribute to the revenue. We use social media in this particular brand to share resources, get to know our community better, but really the important part is to get everyone onto our email community list. All right. For me, it has been the thing that I can fall back on. I can go on vacation and I cannot be on social. I don't have to resort to reels. I've tried reels. I really don't like reels. All right. I don't have to resort to TikTok. I don't need to be creating graphics for Instagram. Like, you have a superpower in your marketing, and that superpower is your email list. Okay. It's a one-to-many communication. But the more I looked at the data, the more I also realized I have the business I have today because I have prioritized email marketing first, always. It's where I start my content creation. Okay. A couple of other things I want you to consider if I still need to sort of like wrangle you into really understanding the power of email marketing is and Maria, I would love your take on this because there's many times we talk about this around our dinner table or around our breakfast conversation, but you're never gonna beat the social media algorithms, right? As soon as you think you've beat the algorithm so that people see your content keeps showing up, they'll change the algorithm. Alternatively, or in addition to, I should say, social media, you don't own your contacts, right? The people that come to us that say, oh my God, my Instagram account just disappeared, or I lost my entire Facebook ads account, and my whole community is gone. Now what do? I simply say, let's get people to an email list and let's start communicating with them. So Maria, you always remind me when I get a little bent out of shape about social media, you remind me of a few key things. And one of those is, I'm going to see if you even know what you say. What's the purpose of each social media platform?
To make money selling ads and data about people for selling ads.
Yep. And so why, just with that, do you think people who are serious about sustainable business growth should be prioritizing and email marketing as their main form of communication and getting a really fun strategy to go with it?
Okay, yeah. So, and we're going to talk more about this, I think a little bit about this in every video in this playlist probably, because here's the difference. When you have a not spam list, an email list that you've curated over time and kept healthy, What you have is a list of people who have chosen to hear from you, and they want to hear from you. And that is priceless, right? Social media and Google search, it's important to make sure that your communication and stuff online is optimized so that the search engines and things will pick it up and the algorithms will do what they do. But the algorithms for the search engines and for social media, they are designed to serve the companies that have created them. It's not a bad thing, but surprise, Meta exists to make money for Meta and its stockholders. That means Instagram's algorithm is not there to help you. It's there to help Meta. It's there to help Mark Zuckerberg and all of those folks, right? And Facebook's algorithm is there to help Meta, right? And Google's algorithm is there to help Google. And this is not a conspiracy. This is the nature of business, right? And so what you need to do to work for you is make sure that you have a list of who wants to hear from you. And if you have a well-curated list for your email that you're sure people have opted into, right? And we're going to talk about what spam laws are out there and what an opt-in and a double opt-in is and how that factors into your list. But if you have a healthy, curated email list, you have an expressed intent of those people to say, I want to hear from you, right? And that actually means a lot more than any random eyeballs that you'll get from an algorithm.
Yeah, and I call this, for me, it's permission-based marketing. People have given me their explicit permission to show up in their inbox until they don't want it anymore. And then they can click unsubscribe, right? And they can come back, but they have full autonomy in those decisions. And that feels so good and so aligned for me. So quickly, let's talk just for a moment, Maria, about automations, because this could be a whole nother video on its own. But before we wrap up this episode, what is the basic foundation people need to understand about the word automation?
It's actually quite simple. When you need to do something over and over and over again, perhaps at a scheduled time, reoccurring, right? Computers are the best way to get most of that done. If you can tell a computer to do something once, it can do it a million times. As long as it has electricity to run, it'll just do it. And email service providers have all sorts of ways to automate things, like checking whether or not someone has clicked on one of your links in a while or opened your emails in a while. It could automatically take people off of your list if an email bounces too many times. It can automatically send email at a certain schedule, at a certain time to certain people. And it will do that all by you giving a plan, getting your strategy together first, and then implementing that strategy using the tools that an email service provider's platform makes available to you. And so there are many, many ways that a computer will help you, especially as your list grows and is growing.
Yes, and I just want to say right here for a moment, if you're new to my world, this may or may not be a surprise. If you're not new to my world, this will not surprise you. Automation is great for saving time, but there is a way to create automations in email and other parts of your business that are very relationship driven, customer centric, and human. All right. So we're going to be talking about this more, this human side of relationship building in email. And I'm actually doing that over on my podcast called Grow Your Business for Good. Season 5 is all about email marketing for coaches, consultants, and service providers. You can either go to your favorite podcasting platform and check that out, find Grow Your Business for Good show there, or right here on YouTube, there is a playlist for each season of our podcast. Now, in the next video, we are going to be diving into, Maria and I are going to be diving into choosing an email marketing platform that works for you. In the meantime, Maria, if somebody wants to reach out to you about email marketing tech needs, where can they get in touch with you?
Best place right now is HQ at joyfulbusinessrevolution.com. I'm going to keep all of this in the Joyful Business Revolution package here because it's all about having a joyful business, really.
Absolutely. And if you're new to my community, welcome. I've got a plethora of free resources for you. And the best of me, Maria, and my team and our education and trainings comes through the email community. So you can pick up a free resource and join the email community at joyfulbusinessrevolution.com. And finally, I do want to hear from you. We want to know what's on your mind. Do you have additional questions about email marketing that myself, Maria, or someone from my team can help you with? Please drop them in the comments below, and we are looking forward to hearing from you. Sending you all lots of love. Adios.